All right, so today we're diving deep into Chinese heritage, history, and culture. And trust me, this is a fascinating one. We're going to be uncovering the story of the Hui diaspora. These are folks from 5 specific counties in Guangdong province. They ventured out and really left their mark on the world. And we've got some incredible sources to work with here. We've got historical records, personal tales, even some archaeological finds to dig into. But here's the thing. This isn't just about listing off dates and places. It's about understanding how these individuals held onto their cultural identity, even while they were out there making waves in new lands.
You know, it's captivating how culture becomes this kind of invisible thread connecting these individuals. I mean, across generations and continents. You know, it's their anchor, their source of strength, especially when you think about them facing the unknown in these new environments. And it really raises all sorts of questions about how cultural identity is preserved. You know, how it's adapted and even how it's reinvented through that migration experience.
Exactly, and that's what we're unpacking today. The cultural contributions of the Hui diaspora and how they navigated that balance between holding on to tradition and embracing new influences. So let's start by setting the scene a little bit. Picture the Hui region in Guangdong province. What made this place and its people so unique?
Well, you see, the Siyi region wasn't always smooth sailing. Historically, it was vulnerable to natural disasters like floods and typhoons, which really made life pretty challenging. These hardships, coupled with economic struggles, really pushed people to seek better prospects elsewhere. On top of that, you also have periods of unrest and conflict, like the Taiping Rebellion, for example, which further fueled this desire for a more stable life, beyond their familiar borders.
So it almost feels like the region itself was kind of nudging its people to explore new horizons, to seek a different destiny.
Precisely, but here's the thing. Even as they left, the Hui people carried their culture with them. You know, their unique Taishanese dialect, their customs, their beliefs. These elements became cornerstones of their identity, their connection to home, no matter where they landed.
It's incredible how culture becomes this portable homeland, this intangible anchor that provides a sense of belonging, even when you're on unfamiliar territory. Okay, so let's trace the actual journey, the migration of the Hui people. Where did they go and when?
Well, it's a journey with layers, you see. Initially, you have movements within China itself. A good example is the story of Lu Gi. Now, during the Song dynasty, he led a group south to the Pearl River Delta because of war and famine. This internal migration, prompted by hardship, actually laid the groundwork for the later overseas ventures.
So you could say that internal migration was almost like a rehearsal for that global diaspora that unfolds later.
Exactly. Then, as we move into the Ming and Qing dynasties, we people start venturing further, primarily to Southeast Asia. Trade opportunities were a big draw. They established merchant networks, they set up shop, and began forming communities in places like Malaysia, Singapore, and Indonesia.
They had that entrepreneurial spirit even back then, forging those paths and building connections so far from home.
Absolutely. They weren't just laborers. They were skilled traders, craftspeople, community builders. And then comes a turning point. The mid-19th century. You have the California gold rush and the demand for labor in North America, Australia, and Southeast Asia. This triggered a massive surge in overseas migration. It was a game changer.
And this is also when technology, like steamships, really starts to reshape that migration landscape.
Precisely. Steamships significantly reduced travel time. Those long, arduous journeys became a little more manageable. We also see a shift in migration routes. Instead of primarily Southeast Asia, many Hui people set their sights on North America. They were lured by the prospect of gold and new beginnings.
So this period really sets the stage for the Hui diaspora as we know it today. This global community with deep roots in Guangdong. But it's not just about numbers, is it? It's about the impact these migrants had on their destination countries, their contributions to industries and society as a whole.
You're absolutely right. Their influence wasn't limited to just numbers. Think about the Chinese laborers who helped build the Transcontinental Railroad in the U.S., many of whom hailed from the Hui region. They faced grueling conditions, prejudice, but played a pivotal role in shaping American infrastructure.
It's a testament to their resilience and the sacrifices they made to carve a path for themselves and future generations. And it wasn't just manual labor. They brought that entrepreneurial spirit with them, too.
Absolutely. We see people establishing businesses, especially restaurants, which became vibrant hubs in Chinatowns across North America. These spaces weren't just about food. They were about recreating a sense of community, preserving traditions, and offering a taste of home in a foreign land.
It's like they were simultaneously adapting to their new environment while holding on to the familiar. that cultural thread that connected them back to their roots. And speaking of connections, I'm really intrigued by the concept of silver letters. These handwritten letters filled not just with news, but with remittances sent back to the Siyi region.
Those silver letters were lifelines for families back home, providing that vital financial support. But their impact went beyond just daily necessities. They funded the construction of some remarkable structures, structures that still stand today as symbols of the Siyi diaspora.
You're talking about the Diaolu, those incredible fortified towers, particularly in Kaiping, right? These architectural marvels, they blend Chinese and Western styles, and were often built with remittances from overseas migrants.
Exactly. They served as symbols of success and a tangible link to the diaspora, reflecting that deep connection between those who left and the homeland they never forgot.
It's fascinating how these Diaolu become these physical manifestations of cultural remittances, showcasing the impact of migration on both the sending and receiving communities.
And these cultural remittances weren't limited to just architecture. The influx of ideas, knowledge, and skills brought back by returning migrants, that sparked innovation and development in the Siyi region. It's a reminder that migration is a two-way street, a dynamic exchange that enriches both sides. It's fascinating how those Diaolu reflect this deeper longing for connection, a way for migrants to leave their mark on the landscape of their homeland. It kind of makes you think, how do modern remittances shape the Siyi region today? Are we seeing new Diaolu, perhaps not in brick and mortar, but in the aspirations and lifestyles of those who remain?
That's such a thought-provoking question. It highlights how the impact of remittances goes way beyond just physical structures, right? It influences social dynamics, aspirations, even consumption patterns within the Siyi region.
Exactly. We see this phenomenon sometimes referred to as vicarious consumption, where families back home, fueled by those remittances, might adopt consumption habits that mirror those of their overseas relatives, which can actually lead to shifts in local economies and social structures. It's a complex interplay between migration, economics, and culture.
It's like this ripple effect, where the actions and choices of those who migrated continue to shape the social and cultural landscape of their homeland. And speaking of those individual stories, I'm curious to hear about some of the personal experiences of Siyi migrants. Their voices add such a human dimension to this intricate tapestry of migration and identity.
Let's start with Chandler. His story embodies the grit and determination of many early migrants. Originally from Xinhui, part of the Siyi region, he embarked on a rather daring journey in 1976.
Yeah, I read that he illegally migrated to Hong Kong, driven by economic hardship back home. What a courageous, albeit risky, leap of faith.
It was a desperate move, really fueled by the hope for a better life. He eventually made his way to Los Angeles, where a sizable Siyi community had already taken root. But life wasn't a walk in the park, He found work in Chinatown restaurants, those bustling centers of community life. But the conditions were tough. Long hours, low pay, a constant struggle to make ends meet.
It reminds us that the American dream, often so romanticized, was a different reality for many early Chinese migrants. They faced immense prejudice, hardship, and their contributions so often overlooked or minimized.
Absolutely. But despite these challenges, Chandler never lost sight of his roots. He made frequent trips back to Xinhui, really nurturing that connection to his homeland. And here's what's truly inspiring. He actively participated in overseas Chinese associations, those vital support systems for the diaspora.
So he wasn't just focused on his individual journey. He recognized the importance of community, of giving back, of preserving those cultural ties.
Precisely. These organizations played a crucial role in maintaining cultural traditions, supporting families back home, and advocating for the rights of Chinese migrants abroad. Chandler's story really exemplifies that dual identity, that feeling of belonging to both his adopted home and his ancestral homeland.
His dedication to both his new home and his homeland makes you ponder this complex idea of belonging. And speaking of belonging, Annie's family's story beautifully illustrates how this connection can endure, across generations and continents. Their journey began in mainland China during the tumultuous years of the Chinese Civil War.
Picture this. It's 1949. And Annie's grandparents, caught in the crossfire, are forced to flee their home. They embark on this perilous journey to Taiwan, traveling on foot, facing hardship and uncertainty at every turn. Adding to their plight, Annie's grandfather had actually lost a leg during the war, which made their journey even more arduous.
It's hard to fathom the courage and resilience it took to make that journey, to leave everything behind and rebuild their lives in a new land. And their story doesn't end there, does it? They eventually made another significant move, this time to the United States.
You're right. In 1988, Annie's parents, seeking better opportunities, decided to leave Taiwan and immigrate to the U.S. They arrived with 3 young children, including Annie, ready to embrace the challenges and possibilities of a new life.
I imagine transitioning to a new country, especially with a young family, came with its own set of hurdles, especially, the language barrier.
Absolutely. It involved immense sacrifice. Annie's father, a successful screenplay writer in Taiwan, actually had to retrain as a civil engineer, and her mother, a journalist, worked in retail for 2 decades. They were accomplished professionals who willingly reinvented themselves to provide a better future for their children.
Their story underscores the sacrifices many immigrants make. The willingness to let go of the familiar and embrace the unknown, all in pursuit of a better life for themselves and their families. But amidst these challenges, they held onto their cultural heritage, right?
They did. And here's a wonderful example of that cultural continuity. Annie and her mother co-founded Asian Avenue magazine, a platform dedicated to sharing Asian American stories, celebrating their heritage, and amplifying their voices.
It's like their journey has come full circle, from a family fleeing war and hardship to creating a space for their community to thrive and share their stories. It's such a powerful testament to the enduring strength of family and cultural identity.
It is, and it reminds us that the Uyghur diaspora isn't just a historical phenomenon. It's a living, breathing community that continues to shape our world. But let's shift our focus for a moment and explore another fascinating way of understanding their journey through archaeology.
Oh, that's right. I remember reading about some intriguing findings in Kangdong village, right here in Guangdong province. These excavations have unearthed some valuable insights into the lives of those 19th century Uyghur migrants who ventured abroad.
Yes. These excavations have revealed everyday objects that provide these tangible links between the homeland and the diaspora. For instance, archaeologists unearthed ceramic bowls in Kangdong village that matched those found at migrant campsites in the U.S. Imagine that connection. Those everyday objects bridging continents and time, telling the silent story of migration and cultural continuity.
It's remarkable how these seemingly ordinary items become extraordinary artifacts.
Yeah.
Connecting us to the past and offering glimpses into the lives of those who came before us. And it highlights how archaeology is about more than just digging up the past. It's about understanding the roots of our globalized world and how seemingly disparate places and people are interconnected.
Precisely. And speaking of connections, let's delve into that remarkable entrepreneurial spirit of the Uyghur people. They didn't just settle in new lands, they built businesses, created jobs, and contributed significantly to the economies of their host countries.
I'm particularly interested in their early involvement in agriculture, especially in California. I read that they played a crucial role in transforming the agricultural landscape there.
They did. Imagine these vast fields of fruits and vegetables, tended by Uyghur migrants, who brought their agricultural knowledge and unwavering work ethic to this new land. They were instrumental in establishing California as an agricultural powerhouse.
It's a reminder that the Uyghur diaspora wasn't just about seeking gold. It was about cultivating the land, about building something new, and contributing to the growth and prosperity of their adopted homes. And their impact wasn't limited to agriculture, was it? They also played a crucial role in construction, facing immense challenges along the way.
That's right. Think back to those Chinese laborers who helped build the Transcontinental Railroad, many of whom came from the Uyghur region. They faced harsh conditions, back-breaking labor, rampant prejudice. Yet their perseverance paved the way for a better future, not just for themselves, but for generations to come.
Their story is a testament to the often unsung heroes of migration, those individuals who toil and sacrifice to build a new life and create opportunities for future generations.
And that entrepreneurial spirit extended beyond manual labor. They established businesses, particularly restaurants, which became vibrant cornerstones of Chinatowns across North America. These establishments served as more than just places to eat. They were community hubs, offering a taste of home, fostering connections, providing support networks for Uyghur migrants.
So they were simultaneously nourishing their community and preserving their cultural identity. It's a beautiful illustration of how food can act as a bridge between the familiar and the new.
Exactly, and that entrepreneurial drive continues to thrive today. Modern Uyghur entrepreneurs are making their mark on the global stage, building businesses, investing in their hometowns, and forging economic ties between China and their adopted countries. It's a legacy of innovation and resilience that continues to evolve.
It's truly inspiring to see how migration, despite its inherent challenges, can lead to economic empowerment, the creation of new opportunities, and the enrichment of both sending and receiving communities.
Absolutely. But it's not just about economic success, right? It's about navigating a new world, adapting to a new culture while holding on to your own, finding that delicate balance between assimilation and cultural continuity.
And I can imagine that maintaining that balance wasn't always easy,
Right.
especially for those early migrants
Yeah.
who faced such immense discrimination and prejudice.
You're right. They encountered some formidable obstacles. Just imagine the impact of the Chinese Exclusion Act,
Yeah.
a discriminatory law enacted in the U.S. in 1882. This act severely restricted Chinese immigration and created these incredibly difficult living conditions for those already residing there. It's a dark chapter in American history, really. A stark reminder of the xenophobia and racism that Chinese migrants had to confront.
It's difficult to grasp the level of prejudice they faced, that sense of isolation and fear they must have endured. What kind of impact did this have on their lives and their ability to build a future?
Well, they were denied basic rights, subjected to violence and harassment, and often forced to live in segregated communities. But even in the face of such adversity, they found ways to persevere. They established their own support networks, built businesses, and bravely fought for their rights.
They sought solace and strength in their communities, forming those tight-knit Chinatowns that became havens of culture and solidarity.
Yes, these Chinatowns became much more than just residential areas. They evolved into centers of commerce, culture, mutual support. They offered a vital sense of belonging, a space where Wu migrants could speak their language, practice their customs, and support one another through difficult times.
It's like they created their own world within a world that wasn't always welcoming.
Exactly. And those Chinatowns were instrumental in preserving cultural traditions. They established temples, organized festivals, and even set up schools to teach Chinese language and culture to their children, ensuring that the next generation wouldn't lose touch with their roots.
It's a powerful testament to the resilience of culture, its ability to not only survive, but thrive even in the most challenging environments.
And it's not just about preserving the past. It's about adaptation and evolution. We migrants didn't just replicate their culture in their new homes. They skillfully blended it with local customs, creating these fascinating hybrid forms of expression.
That reminds me of the unique architectural style of the Dialu, those fortified towers in Kaiping. They so beautifully embody that cultural fusion, don't they?
They certainly do. These towers, often built by returning overseas Chinese, blend traditional Chinese design elements with Western architectural influences, like Roman arches and Greek columns. They represent the Wu diaspora's remarkable ability to bridge two worlds, to create something new and unique from the fusion of different cultures.
It's a reminder that cultural exchange can be a wellspring of creativity and innovation, enriching both the migrant community and the host society.
And this fusion isn't limited to architecture. It extends to food, music, festivals, everyday practices. We migrants have woven their traditions into the fabric of their new homes, creating these rich, multicultural tapestries that reflect the complexities of the diaspora experience.
It underscores how migration is about more than just movement, right? It's about transformation, a dynamic interplay between cultures, and the creation of something new and vibrant from the blending of diverse influences. But it's not just about the past, is it? The Wu diaspora continues to shape the world today, with their influence extending beyond Chinatowns and cultural enclaves.
Absolutely. They're active in business, politics, activism, and various other fields, bridging continents, fostering economic ties, and advocating for social justice. They are a global force to be reckoned with, really. And their story is far from over.
And speaking of their ongoing impact, I'm particularly interested in learning about some of the prominent figures who have emerged from the Wu diaspora. Their stories highlight the diverse ways they've contributed to their adopted countries and the world at large.
Let's start with Liang Qichao. He's considered one of the founders of modern Chinese historiography. Born in Xinghui, part of the Wu region, he was a true intellectual giant. His ideas really significantly impacted China's intellectual and political landscape.
Oh yeah, I've heard of him. He was a prominent reformer, wasn't he? During a period of immense change and upheaval in China.
Yes. He was a key figure in the late Qing reform movement, advocating for modernization and constitutional reform. What's particularly interesting is how his experiences abroad shaped his thinking, especially his travels to Japan and the United States. Witnessing the advancements of industrialized nations firsthand really convinced him that China needed to embrace similar reforms to thrive in the modern world.
So his migration experience, his exposure to different cultures and political systems, played a pivotal role in shaping his ideas. and ultimately influencing the course of Chinese history.
Absolutely. And his impact wasn't limited to just academia. It extended into the realm of politics. He was a prolific writer and a captivating public speaker. His words really resonated with a generation yearning for change. He challenged traditional Confucian thought, advocating for a more democratic and meritocratic system, ideas that were quite radical at the time.
A true voice for progress. A visionary who dared to imagine a different future for China.
Precisely. And, his legacy continues to inspire today. We see his influence in the ongoing push for democratic reforms, the emphasis on education and modernization, and the continuing dialogue about China's place on the global stage. It's a reminder that the impact of the Hui diaspora extends beyond economic contributions. It encompasses the realm of ideas, intellectual discourse, and shaping the future.
And speaking of shaping the future, there's another remarkable Hui figure who quite literally took to the skies. A true pioneer in the field of aviation.
You're talking about Feng Ru, often hailed as the father of Chinese aviation. Born in Enping, another part of the Hui region, he possessed this incredible vision of a modern China soaring to new heights.
Yeah, he wasn't just a dreamer, right? He actually built and flew airplanes.
He did. Imagine this. In 1911, just a year after the Wright brothers made their historic flight at Kitty Hawk, Feng Ru established China's first aircraft manufacturing company in Guangzhou. He was on the cutting edge of aviation technology, driven by this deep desire to bring this groundbreaking innovation to his homeland.
So he was right there at the forefront of this new era of flight, demonstrating China's potential to be a leader in science and technology.
Exactly. And it wasn't just about building airplanes, it was about inspiring a nation. Picture those crowds gathering to witness his daring flights, those breathtaking moments of wonder and possibility. Feng Ru showed the world that China could embrace modernity, push boundaries, and achieve greatness in the realm of science and technology, without sacrificing its unique identity.
His story truly embodies the ingenuity, ambition, and unwavering spirit of the Hui people, their remarkable ability to break barriers and leave their mark on the world.
And his legacy endures. China's aviation industry has experienced phenomenal growth, with companies like Comac now producing commercial airliners that rival Boeing and Airbus. Feng Ru's pioneering spirit lives on in the ambition and innovation that are propelling China's rise as a global power.
It's been an incredible journey exploring the multifaceted legacy of the Hui diaspora. From those early migrants fleeing hardship to those who have achieved remarkable success on the global stage. Their stories embody the indomitable human spirit, right? Its capacity for resilience, adaptability, and boundless innovation.
Absolutely. It's a story that continues to unfold, with each generation adding its unique chapter to the rich and ever-evolving tapestry of the Hui diaspora. Their contributions have profoundly shaped the world we live in, from the food we savor to the technologies we rely on, and their legacy will continue to inspire generations to come.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, we're left with this profound sense of the impacts the Hui diaspora has had, not just within their communities, but on a global scale. From their architectural marvels in China to their contributions to industries worldwide, they've faced adversity, adapted to new cultures, and woven their traditions into the fabric of their new homes, leaving an indelible mark on the world. Their story reminds us that migration is this complex tapestry of challenges and triumphs, a testament to the human spirit's ability to persevere and to create something meaningful in the face of the unknown.
Their journey also underscores the importance of recognizing and appreciating the vital role culture plays in shaping individual and community identity. The Hui people demonstrate that maintaining a strong sense of belonging is possible, even when dispersed across the globe. Their story encourages us to delve into our own roots, to appreciate the richness and diversity of human experiences, and to acknowledge those invaluable contributions of migrants in shaping our world.
So as you reflect on the stories we've shared today, what resonates most with you? Is it their enduring connection to their homeland, their remarkable entrepreneurial spirit, or the extraordinary power of community in overcoming adversity? Whatever aspect of their story speaks to you, we encourage you to explore further, to delve deeper into the fascinating history of the Hui diaspora, and to consider how their experiences mirror the ongoing global conversations about migration, identity, and belonging in our world today